Hello, and a warm welcome to this new episode of Empowering Female Leaders. Empowering Female Leaders is a group and a podcast where we share new perspectives, compelling insights, and always a lot of hands on tools that you can use in your own life to thrive in your career and to reach your most ambitious goals. My name is Ulrike Seminati, and I am a communications coach and consultant who is helping my clients to communicate and lead with authenticity and natural charisma. Today, I am very pleased to welcome Sandy Forster, who is the Money Mindset Mentor for women worldwide, who are ready to experience more abundance and freedom in their life. Sandy went from welfare to millionaire, being featured in Oprah's Aussie Secret, and loves inspiring and empowering women to break through their blocks, manifest more money, and create a life they're truly passionate about. Sandy, do you want to say a few words about yourself?
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm from the beautiful Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia. We're just coming into summer here, so it's nice and hot, but it's the evening, so it's getting dark. And I guess I just want to say that I personally, as was said, I've gone from welfare to millionaire, and my absolute passion is helping any woman understand that wherever you are financially, wherever you are around money now, it's simply probably 90% to do with your mindset, not with the actions you're taking, not with your job, not with your business, but really it's all to do with your mindset. And that's what I love helping other women to do, to break through and release their blocks and really get into that place where they're living a life that is beyond their wildest dreams. Because I've done it, gone from welfare to millionaire, and I just love helping other women do the same.
So coming back to that, you said you were $100,000 in debt and went from welfare to millionaire, as you said. Tell us a little more about that story and how you turned it all around.
Yeah, I married a boy that I met in high school. So we went out for about 10 years and then we got married, and then I had a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old, and we got divorced. So suddenly what I had been doing as a hobby, which was designing and manufacturing swim and gym wear, I was just doing that out of my garage. I was buying fabric down at the local discount store and making up bikinis and leotards and things. Suddenly that, which was like a hobby business, just made us some money on the side, had to be my full-time income. And it really did not work. Like, I just ended up getting further and further in debt. And yes, I ended up $100,000 in debt, and I was on welfare. I was receiving, at the time it was about, and I don't know what it is in kind of euros, but I know in US dollars it was about $7,500 a year to live on. And that is not enough to live on. So I was going further and further in debt, really kind of getting very scared about what my future held. But more than anything, I just felt so, I guess, embarrassed and ashamed, and I just didn't want anyone to know how bad things in my life. And I couldn't understand why everyone else seemed to have their money situation together and mine was just total chaos. And so what I ended up doing was, I was really, really blessed, really lucky that I discovered this thing called the law of attraction. And I fell in love with it. Like, it was all about your mindset. It was all about what you focused on was what you created. And for me personally, it was like I had a choice. I could either focus on my life, which was $100,000 in debt and on welfare, always worrying about when the mail came, whether there was going to be another bill, always worried about how I was ever going to get out of that debt, if that would ever happen in my life. Or I could focus on my dream life. I could focus on having all the money I wanted. I could focus on living in my dream home. I could focus on having a car that didn't actually leak so much when it rained that it was growing a plant in the back seat. Like, I could focus on all the things that I wanted, and I just loved it. I fell in love with the law of attraction. I fell in love with spending more time focusing on what I wanted to create as opposed to what I was experiencing. And it worked for me. Everything turned around, and I was able to basically rewire my brain so that instead of looking for everything that was going wrong, instead of looking for what was going right, and went from welfare to millionaire and completely transformed my life. So as I said, my passion is helping other women to do the same.
And I'm really curious to hear more about that in a few minutes. But before, I would like to know, why do you think so many women struggle to create success and prosperity in their lives?
I think it comes down to the fact that, and this is like a generalization, but this is kind of how we're hardwired from centuries ago. So it was all about men went out and, killed the woolly mammoth, and they went out there and got the furs that we put on for clothes, and women stayed at home and nurtured and looked after the family and the children, the community and the tribe. And so going out there and doing the doing, even though women are doing that in huge numbers these days, it's still a little bit foreign to our nervous system, to how we're hardwired. And so women attempt to do all the doing in their business, and that's a very masculine energy. And instead of bringing some of the feminine energy, which is all about attracting, they're just out there doing, and they get burnt out, they get frustrated, they don't feel good. And when you're in that place of feeling stressed and frustrated, you're not using your attraction energy. You're not in that place where you're able to draw the things, the people, the experiences, the connections into your life. So I think women need to kind of stop, take a step back, take a breath, and understand, yes, doing is so important in a business and in a career, but it's also about allowing yourself to create and attract and manifest. And when you marry the two, the practical with the metaphysical, I always say that's when the magic happens.
So when doing this, and I try to do this as well, I can feel that something inside of me is always telling me the opposite of this positive outlook of my life. Yeah, there are all these inner voices that tell you, no, it's not true. No, this can't be true. The law of attraction is too simple, and no, it will never work out, and all of these things. What did you do to break through these blocks inside of yourself? Because you certainly had them as well, and start manifesting really money and creating this success.
Yeah, great question. And honestly, absolutely. I had probably more than anyone on the planet. I had blocks. I had, like when I heard about the law of attraction, first of all, I'm a Gemini. So half of me believed it and the other half thought it was a load of hogwash. But then it was like, okay, I felt better, as I said, focusing on what I wanted than focusing on what my life was. So it almost took me into this kind of fantasy land of being able to focus on what I wanted and get excited about it and imagine what my life would be like. So even though I constantly had those voices, oh, this is going to work for everyone else. Oh, I think the universe has me sort of destined and singled out for a life of poverty, and it's going to work for them and them and them, but it's not going to work for me. I think my saving grace was the fact that my life was so bad. So spending time visualizing just made my heart sing. It took me away for that brief moment from how crappy my life was into this beautiful, delicious imagination of how my life would be. And because of that, I used to spend a lot of time. It was almost like I say to people, it's almost like I had a part-time job doing the law of attraction. Like I didn't do a few affirmations one morning and then a 5-minute visualization the next, and then, maybe a couple of days later, write down some affirmations. I literally took it on as a part-time job. First thing when I got up in the morning, I would, do my visualization. I'd do a meditation. I'd write down the things that I wanted to create in my life. Like I spent a good hour or two every day really focusing on what I wanted, and really, and not only that hour or two in the morning, but then the rest of the day I was really aware and conscious of what I was thinking. So one of the little tricks that I did to keep me focused on what I wanted, I had like it's like a book from what we call Officeworks here in Australia. And it's just one of those kind of folder type books that has plastic sleeves in it, lots of plastic sleeves. And each plastic sleeve I put a photo of me surrounded by money. Another one I put a series of affirmations. Another one I put a little declaration. Another one I put an abundance sort of words. Like basically every single page, it's something that allowed me to focus on prosperity. And what I did was I kept that on my kitchen table. And I work from home. And so what I would do every time I walked past the kitchen table, whether it was to get a glass of water, whether it was to go out and hang the washing out, whether it's to bring the washing back in, whether it was to go and get lunch, no matter what it was, I would open my little folder and I would read and focus on that one thing on that page. And then I'd go and do what I was going to do. And if I walked past the table again, flip the page, focused on the next thing. Went and did some work. When I came back out to have some lunch, flipped to the next page and did whatever was on that page. And it was only just those tiny, 30 seconds, maybe 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes that I consistently did throughout the day that allowed me to continue to focus on what I wanted rather than what my life was actually like. And that's what it's really about. It's about what I call your predominant mental attitude. So even though your life may not be the way that you want, you don't have the career that you want, you don't have the income you want, you don't have the salary you want, you don't have whatever it is you don't have that you really want, you can spend time, instead of focusing on what you don't have and getting upset about it and being annoyed about it and feeling negative about it, you can take those moments throughout the day and focus on what it is you do want. And when you're focusing more on what you do want than what you don't want, that becomes your predominant mental attitude. That becomes what I like to call the signal that you start to send out to the universe. The universe then hears that louder than the negative signal. And when the universe hears it louder, that's when it starts to bring you people and opportunities and circumstances and situations that allow you to then take the steps toward creating and attracting what it is you truly desire, being able to create that life that you love.
That is a fantastic insight in terms of sheer quantity of doing it, because I think many people who already started with working with this idea of the law of attraction might do a visualization in the morning and that's it. And then they just go through the rest of their day being a bit aware, certainly, about the way how they think, but not in this very focused way like you do it. Now, I have a question for you, because this makes me think of someone who wants to lose weight, for example, and who does everything in the first week or in the second week, eating less, eating healthy, maybe doing sports, whatever. And then maybe in the second week, or maybe depending on the person, already on day 3, you become impatient of seeing something happening. And when you try to lose weight, if nothing's happening, you give up again. Yeah, or you do less because you think, anyway, it doesn't work. Did you have these moments where you did a lot of this and you didn't see something happening at some point? And how did you get over this phase? How do you get over these lows?
Yeah, totally. So you've got to understand that I was $100,000 in debt. I was on welfare. And yes, I discovered the law of attraction, but it didn't happen overnight. And I think this is really important to understand, because people think it's magic. And yes, to a certain degree, it is quite magical, but it's not going to, you're not going to sit there and meditate and then suddenly open your eyes one day and $1 million is going to be in your lap. All right. You have to change who you are at a cellular level. You have to change who you are on the inside. You have to build new neurons and new neural pathways in your brain for change to happen. Just because you're thinking about it doesn't mean it's going to change. You have to, what I always tell my students to do, you have to align body, mind, and spirit. So you have to align your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. And when you align them, then you start to change your outcome. You start to change what occurs in your life. But for me personally, I absolutely, I constantly was focusing and visualizing and spending the time doing all the things that I needed to do, thinking that I was going to attract. And some money would come in and I'd have a bit more money and then it would just disappear again. Like a bill would come out of nowhere. I'd crack a tooth, or I'd prang my car, or the washing machine would blow up, or the dishwasher broke down. Like literally every time money came in, something would happen that would make it go away again. And I realized that was very much who I was at a cellular level. Who I was at my very soul was someone who had a poverty consciousness. And even though consciously I was thinking, I want to be a millionaire, who I was on the inside was not yet lined up to that. My brain was not yet wired for that. I had to keep doing the work. And so I guess the thing that kept me going was knowing that universal law is universal. Like, it's not like it's going to work for you, and you, but it's not going to work for you. It's going to work for everyone. And when you continue to put into place all the things that I teach, then you will see change. But the problem is, as you said, most people give it a go. They get right into it at the start. And when something doesn't manifest in the first, couple of days or even couple of weeks, or even couple of months, they say it doesn't work. But everyone's different. Like, I have people that come through my program and literally I get emails saying, I just watched the first video and put that into place, and already this amazing thing's happened. I've manifested this and I've done that, and that's mind-blowing. But other people, it takes longer. And the reason I tell people not to give up is I was the one where it took the longest. Like, I discovered the law of attraction, I think it was 1999, and I had sort of money come in and money go out, and money come in and money go out, and money come in and money go out. And it wasn't until 2000 and I think it was 2003, late 2003, that I became a millionaire. And I was really doing everything I could around the law of attraction. So, sometimes it takes people longer. And for me personally, it definitely took longer, but I feel very blessed that it did, because now no matter who I'm working with, no matter who I'm talking to, I say, you know what? It's universal law and it will absolutely work as long as you work it. Now, I'm not saying that from 1999 till 2004, every day for 2 hours a day, I did law of attraction processes, because I didn't. All right. I was right into it. I'd do a lot for 2 hours a day, maybe. And then I would do nothing because I'd get disheartened and think it's not going to work. And then I'd come back and I'd get, no, it's going to work. And I'd get right into it. And then I'd get disheartened and I'd sort of stop it all again. So I was on and off just like everyone else. But when I'm on, I'm really on. So when I was on, I was really putting everything into it. And I think little by little, even though, from when I first discovered the law of attraction, even though it didn't all happen overnight or didn't all happen in the first year, things started to improve bit by bit by bit by bit. And I think for me personally, I like to say to people, sometimes the further you're drawn backwards, the further you sort of feel like you're not getting there and you're going backwards and backwards, the more forward the universe shoots you. And I think that was very much my situation. So things seemed to be getting worse and things weren't happening the way I wanted. Money would come in, money would go out. But I kept doing it. And must have built up this big bank of energy that the universe finally just couldn't ignore and just shot me so far forward and really helped me to manifest all that millions and be able to create a life that I truly love.
Where did you get this conviction from that finally it will work out, and this conviction of it's worth to persevere? Where did it come from?
You know what? And this is why one of the reasons in my programs, I always get everyone to share their successes. Because for me personally, every time I heard someone else do something amazing, create something amazing, manifest something amazing, attract something amazing, it was just like another kind of seed planted in my brain that, you know what, I can do this. This can happen for me too. And so that's one of the reasons I love sharing my story with other women all around the world, because I know if I can plant that seed for one woman and get her to understand that, me, who dropped out of high school, I didn't even finish high school, I had no connections, no one with money, I had no great skills. There was literally, I would be the last person you would think would ever become a millionaire. But I figure if I can do it, then I can show other women how to do it. So it really is about understanding that it's universal law, like I said before, universal law, and it works for everyone. And you just have to be committed. And some people, it happens very quickly. Some people, it takes a bit longer. But, it probably took me the longest of everyone. But that's great, because I can say no matter where you are in your own circumstances, if you stay committed like I stay committed, then you'll be able to manifest more than you ever desired.
That brings me to my next question, which is I'm really, really curious to hear more, because you have a lot of clients. You have helped a lot of women to manifest the life they want to create. Can you share a few examples of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember one of my students last year came through my Millionaire Mindset Experience program. It's an 8-week program, and it really helps women to manifest more money and completely rewire their brains so they release all their blocks. And I remember her coming into the program and going through the program, and she manifested nonstop during the program. But they were all like really tiny, tiny little things. Like she got a discount on a coffee. She got a free lunch. She got, what else did she get? Someone gave her something that she wanted. Like, but they were all like fairly small things. And at the end of it, she said to me, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't understand why I'm only getting, lots of little small things. And I said, it's you, it's your thinking. You need to think bigger. And anyway, I really sort of pushed her to think much, much bigger. She went through the program a second time, and going from, discounts on coffees and free lunches, the second time round, she manifested a job that paid her $150,000 a year. And she sold her house that she'd been trying to sell for 9 years for $300,000 more than she had it on the market for. So that was really exciting to see. And then I get other women who go through the program and they do amazing things like send me an email saying, oh my gosh, I had a $194,700 loan and the bank just rang me up and said, they've wiped it. I don't owe it anymore. Like all these amazing money miracles that just blow my mind. I mean, I teach it, but it still blows my mind when they're able to create and manifest these things. I just had another woman who has only been in the program 3 weeks, and she said, oh my gosh, I've just been contacted by someone who wants me to do a TV program and have it, what did she say, streamed on Amazon Prime, and it's going to reach millions of women around the world. So yeah, all sorts of amazing things happen just out of the blue. And like I said, it's when you marry the practical with the metaphysical. You have to do the both. It's the mindset and the practical steps. You can't be sitting around meditating, expecting it to drop in your lap. You have to take action.
That is very inspiring to hear different stories. And I think this is exactly the thing why people can persevere. Because when they see that real people have changed something in their lives due to that, no matter if it took 1 week, 1 month, a year, or whatever, it's very encouraging to just take the time every day and to stick to it, and continue.
Yeah. And it builds your belief. I think that's the main thing. When you build your belief about anything, you start to feel that something is possible. That's when you actually start to take more action, because there's part of you that goes, well, yeah, this could actually work. So you start to take more actions. When you take more actions, you build your belief even more. And when you build your belief, then your energy, your vibration gets stronger, and you send out more of that kind of, I like to call it an order to the universe, and the universe can start to line things up behind the scenes to make your dreams come true.
Yeah, exactly. So it's about creating a positive mental spiral, actually. That is underlined then by positive actions, by positive outcomes, and then to really get into this up spiral. It's a beautiful idea, and I think it works. Yeah, I think it works. It's something nonetheless where we tend to still sabotage ourselves in the middle of the process. What are the typical traps, the typical things that women do to sabotage themselves while they try to manifest money and success?
Yeah, this happens all the time. So again, it comes back to anything that is different for you is potentially a threat. So think back to caveman days. If you saw an animal that you didn't know what it was, it could potentially kill you. If you saw a fruit or a food that you didn't know, it could potentially kill you. Anything that was out of the ordinary, that wasn't known, was a threat. Not just to your day-to-day happiness, but to your life. Like it was life and death. So we've kind of been hardwired now that anything that is a little bit different, again, is a threat. And that's why people get stressed about just little things happening in their life, because they're not used to it. And it's the same with money. So this is why when people that have never had any money often win the lottery, and then 2 or 3 years later, they have nothing. I was actually reading something online the other day about a guy who was, I think he was 18. He was a garbage truck guy, and he won the lottery. He won $15 million, and about 3 years later, he had nothing at all. And people go, oh my, that's ridiculous. Like, I would be better with that. I would look after the money. But the bottom line is, unless you're used to something, unless your brain thinks it's safe, then you will sabotage yourself. You will, and that's why one of the things I love to teach my students is whatever your dream or goal or desire is, whatever it is, you have got to think about it all the time. You've got to imagine it's already happened in your life, because the more you imagine it, the more you get into the feeling place of it already having happened in your life, what happens is your nervous system starts to calibrate to that, starts to get used to that, starts to feel comfortable with that. And therefore, you're less likely to sabotage, because it's no longer seen as unsafe. Your body, mind, and spirit has become used to it, and it's okay. So that's often why when women go out there and start to build a business, and they may actually start to get clients and start to make good money, they're not returning calls when potential clients ring. They're not showing up for their sessions that they're supposed to do with people. They're supposed to go for a raise, and they're sick on the day that they're going to ask. It's like they often step in there and just completely self-sabotage, because they haven't done the mental visualization, mental processing of what it is that they want, and got comfortable with it and feel good about it and feel like it's safe. Even though asking for a raise or getting a new job isn't a life-threatening incident, at our nervous system level, it is. So you have to continually be doing things to get yourself used to it, to get yourself sort of calibrated to that new thing that you want.
Yeah, so it's basically to shut down your fight and flight mode, which comes in or kicks in even if the situation is absolutely not life-threatening. But we have this mechanism, and we don't need it usually anymore in our normal lives, fortunately.
We don't.
So it's used for something else, and it's totally overdone these days. So it's overreacting all the time. I think, we all have also an internal glass ceiling that we have inside of ourselves. And because of this internal glass ceiling, where we can't see ourselves on a higher level in whatever area, we keep ourselves down, we sabotage ourselves, and do exactly the things that you say. You might not call back someone, or not as quickly as you could, and just not step into the opportunities that are coming up for you. So there is a lot that we can certainly do even differently. Now, I have one last question for you. You spoke several times about goals, and sometimes also about dreams. And you also said in the beginning that you need to set yourself a big, big goal. Now, what is for you the difference between a dream and a goal, and how can someone who thinks, but that's just a nice dream which I have there, which I look at every day, which I visualize every day, it's just a dream because it's so much over any type of reality, probably, that's what you think, that it's just a dream. What do you say to your clients when they say that?
I totally believe that anything is possible. So I like to sort of call myself a delusional manifester. So if there's something that I want in my life, no matter how big it is, I believe it's possible. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm just, a big dreamer, but that's why I've been able to create, manifest, and attract so many things into my life. That's why I've been able to create the success that I have. So I always tell people, you know what, no matter what dream or goal or desire you have, the universe always wants more for you than you ever want for yourself. So our little minds keep us stuck. Our little minds try and keep us where we are because, again, it's safe. But the very fact that we've had a dream, the very fact that we have a goal, the very fact that we have a desire actually means it's out there waiting for us. The reason that we've actually had that goal, that dream, is that it's there. And I mean, I sort of interchange the word dream and goal, but they often say that a dream is just, thinking nicely about something, whereas a goal is when you've got a timeline and you've got sort of action steps. But I really interchange the two words simply because, to me, as soon as I have that dream, then it's a goal. For me, it's like, that's it. I want it to happen. And I focus on it, and I write about it, and I affirm it, and I visualize it, and I really allow it to become part of who I am before it even appears in my actual reality. And that's the key. Have that dream, have that goal, have that desire become part of who you are before it appears in your real life, before it actually appears. Because what will happen is the more you imagine that it's real, the more you'll take action toward it. And the more you take action toward it, the more you believe it's actually going to happen. And the more you believe it's going to happen, the more action you take. And then the two combined just allow it to manifest.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you very much. We are getting to the end of our interview, and I have one last question because I'm sure that people are interested in learning more. For those who want to really get through their blocks and start manifesting the way or the life they want to live, where can they find more about you? How can they access something? Is there something that you can do for them?
Sure. So you can probably find out more about me at wildlywealthy.com. But for those of you who would love a guided visualization and some affirmations and a few little tools that I have that'll help you to start moving toward attracting more abundance, if you go to wildlywealthyfree.com, and I've got a bundle of Wildly Wealthy goodies for you.
Wow, that's cool. I'm looking forward. I will check them out as well. I'm very curious to see. And I thank you very much for this very insightful and highly inspiring talk that you gave here. And I think it's accessible actually to everyone, as you say. So it's just about putting in the energy, the belief, and the time and the perseverance after all to make it happen. Thank you very much, Sandy.
Thank you so much for having me.